Okay, so this is a audio log, or a Vaudio log, or whatever. I think that is going by Vangelist, so I can't use that. technically I could, but people would blame me for plagiarizing. But anyway, this is a audio log for a game concept I have, which is basically Metroid Prime meets Star Wars Battlefront. I know, can't get any cooler than that, can ya? Basically the idea runs like this. It's Metroid meets Battlefront. You'd have, instead of playing as Samus the entire time, though, you'd play as different class characters. Like, you know, like Galactic Federation versus the Space Pirates, right? And you pick a side, and you do battle against computer AI and other players as well. Like, you'd probably have an online mode. Not entirely sure how I'd do. If I were to do it, I'm not sure how I would get it right. I have no abilities in programming, mind you. So yeah. But anyway, let's get on to the first concept here. Let's talk about well, these are the first concept you want to talk about, I think, is the premise, which I kind of got the premise down right there. Then you probably want to talk about graphics and models. Probably what happens is I would say get some models from the Metroid Prime series. And I think with that'd be enough to kind of get a start on, like get enough different looking pirates, enough different looking GF troopers, and enough extras like hero characters, like Samus would be a hero character. You probably have like Dark Samus as another hero character for like the Space Pirates. Because you know, if we're gonna do Battlefront, we gotta have a Jedi slash heroes, so that's always a good idea. So basically, yeah, that'd be it. But let's see. Let's talk about classes here. I figured we need at least 6 classes. Let's see. We have riflemen, and these guys are like your basic guys. They're equipped with a power beam weapon. And basically it has 2 modes. It has single shot charge, which fires a stronger shot, or rapid fire, which basically acts like a machine gun, you know? And then that would be about it. They'd probably have like medium health, standard health, you know, probably 100 units of health, or 99 if we want to go by that. And they would probably cost about 10 points to use every time. 10 points to use each. Like basically the idea is like you start off with a set amount of points, and you get more during the game, like overtime, and also fighting, and also like killing guys and capturing checkpoints would get you more points and such. Various things would get you more points that you can spend on them. Every time they die, you get when you respawn, you got the respawn penalty of using your points to purchase a new guy. And each class has different point values based on their value. Like the rifleman, like I said, would be 10 points. And that segues into my next part. The next class I want to talk about is the shotgunners. These guys fire shotguns, basically a spread shot, or they can change it to a single slug shot. Very powerful, but only hits one guy. Goes a little further than the shotgun. And the standard shotgun scatter. Or another idea I have for them that's a pretty good idea is You know, the scatter shot that Dark Samus has in Metroid Prime Echoes? Think of it like that as one of them. Think of that like as like that is one of the shotgunner's attacks, and it spreads out more so it can hit more targets, but it takes more shots, it takes more ammunition. Yes, ammunition is going to be a viable. Ammunition is going to play a part in this, at least for the non-hero classes. And probably for the hero classes, it'll take away from their life force. Like they'll have like a lot of life, but it also takes away like ammunition whenever they use special attacks, some other than their basic weaponry. Basic weaponry or charge shot, you know. But anyway, moving on. Basically, the shotgunners have shotguns, and they're a little more heavily armed than the riflemen. Then you have the next class. Let's see, this is the third class. The snipers. Now these guys get a weapon similar to the wave beam. What I mean by that is, you know how the wave beam kind of arcs in on targets when you aim at them? It'll be kind of like that, but it won't arc like a great distance. It'll just kind of be like like an arc. Just a slight like 45-degree arc, and it kind of curves into the arc instead of like a direct 45. It's kind of curves. So you don't have to be the best shot in the world to hit them, but it curves and hits them and still does a moderate amount of damage. The sniper rifle is not going to be like the strongest weapon in the game like in most other games. One thing I want to do with this, I want to make balance a key point in this. Balance is so that like no single class feels like it's being overused, so it feels like it's overpowered. Except maybe the commander class, which I'll get into that in a bit. But basically, the sniper would get like an arc. Well, I'd call it an arc shot, which is basically like the wave beam. It'll hit. It'll always hit. Of course, if other players use proper strategy, like they try to. Oh, if you go one direction, it tries to arc. Yeah, the wave beam will only arc in one direction. Basically, it'll arc. Like say you fire on an enemy and they move out of the way, it'll arc towards them. But if they move in the other direction before the shot hits them, then it won't arc. It'll try to circle around, but then it'll probably disperse by the time that happens. So yeah, it'll only be there for a limited amount of time. And so yeah. That said, let's get into the next class. Let's see. Sniper, rifleman, shotgunner, grenader or rocket man. These guys would have grenades and rocket launchers. Basically, the grenades would be the equivalent of morph ball bombs, power bombs, and the rockets would be like rockets. These guys would also be the only class outside the hero classes that could use the super missile. And the way that would work is that the super missile would either work under using the missile of the rockets themselves, much like in the games, or it would work under their own ammunition, much like in the 2D games. So yeah. And basically they come equipped. Actually, let me back up to the snipers real quick and say what they'd be equipped like a wave beam sniper, and like for a close range melee, like a power beam that just kind of fires single shots, doesn't charge. the rocket grenaders would be equipped with the same thing, except maybe it might have rapid. No, just be the standard shot weapon, just single shot, kind of like a pistol sort of thing. And then they could switch to a rocket launcher and fire upon like multiple enemies. The only difference from them is that they could charge their rocket launcher, and they could fire probably like the multiple shots, like the what's it called? The multi-shot rockets from Echoes, so you could hit multiple targets, and charge up to fire a super missile. You can charge up both ways, and if you charge up to standard, it'll just fire the multi rockets. But if you press another button, like say you let go of the button or something, let go of the button while pressing like the reload button or something, it'll fire a completely different. It'll fire the super missiles or something like that. I'll figure that out by the time it gets to controls later on. Next class. Next class. I think we focused enough on the rocket launchers. But the next class. Let's see. Sniper, rockets, gunmen, shotgunners, medics. Every game needs a medic or an engineer. That's another good term to use there. Medic / engineer. Why do I say engineer? Well, I'd like to implement vehicles into this game. However, that seems like it's going to be nearly an impossibility. A near impossibility. Basically, how many vehicles do you see in a Metroid Prime game that aren't just like spacecraft? Yeah. That's kind of a bit of a problem there. However, we could probably implement something like that, like probably bring in some generic weapons, just texture swap them with other weapons or something, I don't know. Or we could just get them from corruption. I don't know, we could just probably find a few weapons they do have and just use those. A few vehicles, excuse me. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say vehicles instead of weapons. But basically, the medic engineer would, or just as you say, the medic, they heal other people. They get another single shot power beam. Only probably be the weakest one, and it would be they'd primarily be used for healing other players or wounding others. Like they'd have like a kind of like a beam, like a stream type weapon that deals damage, kind of like the medic in Team Fortress 2, only it can be worked for or against. You can use it for your allies or against your enemies. And probably in all honesty, it'd feel and look a lot like the wave beam. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say about them. Next guys, flamethrowers or whip soldiers. Basically, I don't want to use the term flamethrowers because they'll be using the flamethrower ability, much like you see in the like the flamethrower in Prime when you get the super weapon for the plasma beam. They'd be working stuff like that, but then they'd also have like standard plasma beam shot. So they waste less ammo on smaller enemies, weaker enemies, or just fewer enemies in general. And they'd also get stuff like they'd be able to use the grapple beam, and more specifically like the grapple lasso. So they'd be able to tether onto enemies and fire on them at the same time. And they'd probably get a pretty good distance. They'd be able to tether enemies electrical stream. And basically what that would screw with your interface a little bit, screw with the enemies, with the target's interface a little bit, kind of like, you know how it does in the game, kind of makes it all a little fuzzy. And what it will do aside from just that is it'll automatically lock in on them. It do less damage than the flamethrower, but since it automatically locks in, yeah. And so that seems like a good idea. I'd say the flamethrower would do like 50 damage per hit. The weight beam would only do like 25 or something like that. I don't want to make it too weak. I mean, you want it to be useful. Like maybe it would be useful again. Yeah, it'll still take the same amount of ammo, so you want to find some way to balance it out. Again, balance is going to be an important thing with this. For not just which side you're on, but classes as well. You won't want to feel like, oh, they're only playing this class because it's overpowered. Or they're not using this weapon because it's overpowered or it's underpowered. But actually, that is going to be the case with most the power beam. Like I said, the riflemen would probably be because they'd be the least expensive. They'd have rapid fire attacks, so it'd be like just kind of like having a standard rifle guy. And so yeah, that would work. I think I've forgotten to mention the cost of all these characters, like how much it would cost to spawn one every time you died. I'll get into that in a bit. Let's see, you got the flamethrower. So I think I finished up with that. Finished talking about that. All I needed to do. Let's see what's next. The spy. Basically, this guy would focus on cloaking, using different types of cloaking technology. And yes, you will be able to use the visors in this game, including the scan visor. In fact, you get points for scanning enemies during battle. You'll be able to use it while in combat. You won't be able to manually aim because you'll be locked on other enemies. You won't be able to unlock aim from that enemy you target or the corpse. In that case, in some cases you could technically scan a corpse and you get more data, which is basically this: you get more points to spend on gaining other classes. You can also scan stuff around like local life forms. But anyway, we'll get into that in a second. Let me get into the spy thing with the whole deal of the spies. They use different types of cloaking technology that'll give you different buffs, different debuffs. Like say you want to use the thermal cloaking, which can only be seen with a thermal visor. You can, except it's going to burn out faster, or burn out slow, or not burn out faster. Except that most people are going to be equipped with a thermal visor, so they'll be able to see you easily. So if someone dies on the field, like, oh, we got someone down, put your visors on. Everyone puts on the thermal visors. Though it lasts longer. It's easily the longest lasting of the cloaking modes. Then you got the X-ray mode, where only the X-ray visor can see you, and and the advantage of that is that less people can see you. However, it burns out faster too. Not every class will have every single visor. Then you have stuff like, say, the Echo visor, or the Echo beam, the Echo form, which only those with an Echo visor can see you. Yeah, you're seeing the trend here. allow you to go faster, but it'll burn out faster as well. So yeah. And then the dark visor, of course, dark. It might add on. That one might add on defense for you. So let's see. That's about all I want to talk about the sniper. The next one is the commander. I mentioned them earlier. And the commander is kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. They got a little bit of everything out. Well, kind of. They don't have any of the sniper. They have a sniper. They have a chain gun basically as well in places. A chain gun that takes a little bit to load up. You know, kind of like in Star Wars Battlefront. You have those chain gun guys, the heavy guys. Just had to pop my ear there for a bit. And they have the chain gun that they carry on. It takes a little bit to load up, but once it loads up, it fires like a million shots a second. Yeah, no, it doesn't really fire a million shots a second, but you get what I'm talking about. Then they also have like a shotgun with a wide spread, a sniper rifle with special distance, with extra distance or something like that, extra power, or stuff like that. They can take a beating, and of course they're the most expensive troop to use, and most new players wouldn't be able to use them. Now what I want to talk about is the excuse me. Now what I want to talk about is the leveling system real quick. Basically, you just level up, and you gain enough experience. And you gain experience from doing various things, from doing things in battle. Basically, what this does is it gives you more startup points to use. To purchase soldiers, so you can get like higher level soldiers, or you can die more often and not have to worry about running out of points as much. Yeah, like I said, you can get higher cost units right away, as opposed to having to be in battle enough with the weaker guys, with the lower cost guys, and yeah, stuff like that, you know. Basically, the way it would work is basically you gain level and you gain like X amount of points right there from leveling up. And pretty simple stuff right there. And that's pretty much all it would do when you level up, is just gain those points. You might gain a small boost in strength around all your units, but really, that's more or less. Each unit themselves will individually level up. So as you play each unit, so they'll individually level up on their own. So you don't have to worry about really gaining too much strength. You really don't have to worry about the leveling up process there. It's just basically just there to give you more points to spend on higher level troops and different weapon loadouts. And yes, we are gonna have like different weapon loadouts. I could get different types of weapons. They still do initially the same thing. Like a rifleman can switch different types of rifles, but they're gonna give you like stronger abilities, or like an auto lock or something like that. Alternate abilities, like maybe an explosive, like small explosive shots or stuff, or stuff like that. And of course, they're going to be more expensive to it's going to add the cost to your character loading out, to your character being shipped out, because you're putting on stronger abilities. Let's see, what else? You also get like different armor and stuff. This is all stuff I'll come up with later as well. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like wondering what kind of awesome episode are you gonna get this guy? What kind of awesome episode are you gonna get this guy? Don't worry, I'll get into that. It's another episode. Speaking of which, this is going on for like 25 minutes. Let me just go ahead and finish up. I think I finished up saying everything I want to say about the leveling. Like I said, you can level up your individual soldiers and yourself as well, and your profile as well. And the profile is basically just levels up so that you can get stronger units out faster. What I'll probably do is I'll probably make a Word document on the values and stats of each class type. Yeah, with that said, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this off right now, because it's getting 26 minutes in. A little longer than I wanted it to be, but still. So anyone interested in doing this, post a comment below. That's assuming I post on YouTube, or anywhere for that matter. Let me know what you think, and send me your ideas. I really need just about an entire team. Someone that can model, I think I can do animation. I think I can animate, like, I know I have some experience with 3ds Max, but yeah, that's about it. I can't make my own models. I don't even know where to begin to look for models that have been ripped from the games and other stuff like that. So yeah. But anyway, this is just basically just talking about the character classes. In the next episode, I think I'll talk a little more about probably hero classes, and get a little bit into those and how they'll work. But until then, I'll see you guys later.